Hello ladies and gentlemen, how you doing today? My name is Spillify, and today we are here to counter a glove. Now which glove is that? Why of course it's the Rojo glove. Welcome. Today we're gonna figure out some counters, huh? Shout out to this amazing crew of people here that are gonna help out and try to figure out the counters for this specific glove. So first things first, with most gloves, you can absolutely use Diamond, Custom, or Mega Rock to avoid being hit by the blast or any slap if you're just in rock mode. Definitely don't recommend sitting in Diamond as you do get penalized for it, so Custom and Mega Rock are gonna be your best options for rocks. In rock form, super safe, but if you get out of the rock, that's gonna happen to you. That's the defensive side of rocks. This is the offensive side, where when you see one of these users use their ability, jump on top of them or to the side of them, wherever you can, with a Mega Rock or a Custom, and as soon as they get out of their ability, they're gonna get killed like that. So Custom and Mega Rock are definitely gonna be top tier options for you to use against these users who are stuck in an animation. So the next counter on this list, I'm not gonna say is a true counter, it's 50-50 because it all relies on timing, specific key point and timing. Alright, so when you do the animation and you go to shoot, all you flash users have to have like extreme timing, but you can dodge out of the way. You can't be early and you can't be late because they can still trace you wherever you go. So it's kind of like a 50-50 counter for me. Now spring, you can hop over it. So it is able to jump over that ability if you time it right. Spring is more or less, not 50-50, it's a little bit better than 50-50, but it's not a pure counter, so it's like somewhere in there, like 65 to 70% counter range. Now can you use a swapper to swap a user who's using the ability into themselves? Let's check it out. Ooh, I don't think so. So knowing that information now, the way you're gonna have to use swapper is if it's shot at you, you're gonna have to swap somebody else in your place, or you're gonna swap the person who shot and they're just not gonna take any knockback. So swapper's a counter. It's not a pure counter, but it's high up there. It's pretty good. Now, of course, they can't see a ghost user, so you could always walk up and slap them while you're invisible, but make sure you hit them off because if you don't, you're gonna be uninvisible and they're gonna hit you. Now, you can absolutely use Thanos to save yourself from being hit off the edge. As soon as you get hit with the orb or any sort of, knockback, just use it and go back to your original position. You'll be alright. So magnet can actually be a counter because as soon as you get hit by that giant orb, just magnet yourself right back to the person who hit you. You'll be ragdolled, so you might not immediately hit, but you're not gonna die. If you get hit with this, it should not matter because just use the magnet ability and go. Well, I mean, I don't know. After seeing that, if you're near an edge, that could still send you off. If you're early to the ability use, right after you get hit, you won't take as much ragdoll flying back. But most of the time, once you do get hit, you're gonna have a slight delay in your reaction timing, so you're gonna have that knockback that we saw in that last clip. So magnet's not a pure counter, but it's a pretty good one. Space is an absolute counter. You can't hit what's not there, right? As soon as you see that user go into their animation, just wait like a second or two, activate your space and jump up in the sky. Guess what? You're in space. They can't get you. They're earthbound. So just go up to space, but don't do it too early or you could have that same effect that just got hit with Carl. As soon as they hit their ability, don't use yours. Wait a second, it takes them a while to get through their animation and that holding period. So just wait just a tad bit, then use your ability and then jump up in the sky. And you can even drop on top of them to hit them. 10 out of 10, top tier. Now Dream can also be a pretty good counter because you are speedy. As soon as you see them go into their animation, run to the opposite side of the map, they're still gonna probably be aiming at you. And if that's the case, just keep running. The likelihood that they're gonna be able to time it is slim. Saying, oh, there's the Dream. So they use their ability, and by the time they look forward, guess what? Where's the Dream? Oh, where are they? Oh, they're way over there. Well, alright, he stopped. But you see how much distance you can create by the time that they get done with their animation and they're ready to shoot? He was way over there already. So Dream, I can absolutely say, is a great counter. Just keep running, don't stop, or you will get hit. So another big question is, are you safe during Golden's ability? Golden's ability saves from a lot, but will it save from this? Yes, they are. I'm not gonna say Golden is a trophied counter, but it will nullify any bit of that ability hitting you. So I think we have found one of my favorite counters so far, because with Cheeky, you can take a gigantic knockback reduction, and I also think that you can ram your Cheeky Ball into a user in an animation, and they have less character physics, so they weigh a lot less for some reason. That's what I think happens. Look how much of a knockback reduction you are gonna receive. So they get hit, but you're not going far at all. All you have to do is just hold W in the direction that you were just hit in, and you'll be a-okay. Now, the next thing that you can do with Cheeky is you can ram a user using Rojo. So this is what it looks like when you have... Yo, that's wild. Whenever you see the Rojo user go into animation, just run them over with a Cheeky Ball, and they go flying. I don't know if this is intended, but I hope it stays, because Cheeky is a massive counter for that specific reason. It's not gonna send them that super far every single time, but the majority of the time that we have tested this, it has done that. You could always get a higher tier kill streak and have an Orb War. I don't recommend it though. Now, what happens when you use reverse? Who takes the knockback? Let us see what shall happen in this moment here. Oh, they got hit, but I also got hit. Both parties take the hit. So that's an outcome we haven't seen before. That doesn't make reverse a pure counter. It only makes it 50-50 because every time they hit you, it's gonna hit them. So it might be like a slight deterrent for them. I still like to use reverse against them, but just know you're gonna be hit. So Shukuchi's a counter, and this is why. So you can't use Shukuchi while they're in the animation, but but you can do it after. But he survived too. So Shukuchi does counter a Rojo user. It won't let you use the Shukuchi ability on them while they're in their ability, but if you're sitting there and you're spamming it, then after they get done with their ability, you will teleport behind them. It just works out really well, because either you're gonna go after the Rojo user, or you're gonna target another user, and you're gonna be in an animation, so you're not gonna take knockback. I'm gonna go ahead and give this a top tier counter because it can play defense and offense at the same time. Now, you could use Duelist right next to an ability user, so that if you do end up getting hit, it can still drag you in. If you place that Duelist Arena right next to them, no matter where they are, even if you shoot them, they get dragged right back into the arena. This can work as a 50-50 counter, as it will save you from being knocked off the edge. You can either exit the arena, or you're gonna have to solo 1v1 a Rojo user, so keep that in mind, and that's why I'm only placing it at 50-50. Now we're on to Adios, which is just like another Thanos glove. We have the whole class with Thanos, Adios, and Recall. All of these gloves are gonna be able to save you from falling off the edge. They're 50-50s though, because they save you. They're not offense, you know? You could use it beforehand to get out of the way, or you could use it as a saving grace thing. Adios should work plenty of times. So what happens with the blocked buddies combination? Do you think they get hit with the knockback, the ragdoll? I kind of think they do, no matter what happens. Yeah. Oh, they both get hits. Yes, I kind of assumed that was gonna happen. So blocked and buddies is a no-go for this. Now, what happens if you were to chuck a rock at somebody in an animation with Rocky? If they're in their ability, and they throw, yep, it's just like Cheeky, just as I expected was gonna happen. If you throw a rock at somebody in that animation, they are gonna get flung. So Rocky's a top tier counter. So with Conveyor, this is not gonna be a counter if they do move. They can, of course, just wait for the counter ability to end before they go for their slap. But does it? Yes. Okay, it does. Yo, wow, they go very far. So Balloony is definitely a top tier counter because you can use this for both offensive and defensive purposes. As soon as you see them go into their ability, you could use the balloons to just run away and hop. They could have, you know, ran away and jumped, but even them hitting, they didn't even go that far. Now what happens to a Rojo user who has balloons? The Rojo user... Balloony is definitely a massive counter. A Rojo user has to pop the balloons before they can use their ability, and if they're in their ability, all you have to do is just jump sky high and wait for their ability to end and either drop on top of them and slap them, or do whatever. But Balloony, highly recommend. Phantom is a fantastic glove for both offensive and defensive purposes on this. I could honestly probably say this is top tier because as soon as the user is using their ability, don't pop your Phantom ability too fast. Wait a little bit and then use your ability and then run. You still stand the chance of being hit, but it's gonna drastically reduce the chances of you getting hit if you actually run in a direction and don't make it obvious to where you're running. So again, with Phantom, make sure you wait, don't immediately pop it. Wait for them to be holding it in like one arm like this, then use it. Because you could just do exactly what Sprag did right there. Dodge it and then get right back in their face, ready to hit them after. So a hidden 50-50 gem here is going to be Wormhole. Let them aim their shot at you, and then as soon as they go to shoot, get in the wormhole. Guess what? You're all the way over wherever your teleporter is. You could place down your portal to kind of bait them, but as soon as they go to shoot it, just teleport away. Don't teleport into it. So Wormhole, in that sense, is like a 50-50 counter. So with a Track Glove, you can't use this while they're in the animation. It will go target somebody else. You can use it before and after, but it's not a counter. This is more of like a deterrent glove, like, hey, stop using this against me. I'm gonna keep throwing these Track Gloves at you. That's what you could use Track for. Table Flip could be, like Carl is saying here, Table Flip could be Cheeky 3.0. All you're gonna have to do is just hit a cheeky little Table Flip on them. and they get sent to the next dimension. So table flip is a perfect counter. It gets that top trophy for me. Shield does not work. Don't use shield. Ping pong doesn't work like table flip or cheeky. This is more of like a track thing. It's a deterrent. It's not a counter. You can't hit them while they're in the middle of the ability. So right quick, I did skip booster, but I do want to say this is like a semi 50-50 because if you slap them beforehand with booster and they use their ability, they're gonna get sent up to the heavens. You can catch them off guard with booster for sure. So using the whirlwind can work, but the problem with whirlwind is if you're near somebody, you're gonna slap them and you're gonna be taken out of your ability. But if you can avoid everybody, it's gonna be way too hard to hit, and they can go right back at you like that. Slicer is gonna fall under the ping pong and the track, where this is a deterrent. This is not gonna counter. And when I'm saying like deterrent, you're gonna want to wait for them to finish their ability, then you use this on them, because you can't hit them during, but after, they're just a sitting duck. So onto our next counter here, we have Excavator, which this is a little bit above a 50-50. You can avoid being hit by the orb if you time it right, and you can also give damage. As soon as you see this user going in their ability, you don't have to pop it. I'd wait a little bit, just like Sprag did. As soon as they shoot it, then you come up and hit them that way. So Excavator's counter is a counter, but it's not a pure counter because you can't do anything to them while they're inside of their ability. You have to wait for them to be over. So you have to time your ability to theirs and then rise out of the ground after they shoot the orb. But Excavator can definitely work. Now, if you slap them beforehand with Nightmare, it will actually make your character invisible during the cutscene, which is pretty unique. So what happens with the God's Hand ability during one of these animation uses? So you can no longer aim it, but you can still fire it at the God's Hand user. For the one-shots, they work to kill them. They're offensive based. As long as you don't get hit by the ability, you could sit there and trade hits with them. So one-shots can effectively counter in that sense. So God's Hand, the Flex, Air, Overkill all work for 50-50 counters. They're not defensive, they're offensive. If you time it, Acrobat is just like the Flash Glove. I'm not gonna say a counter because the timing on it is gonna be pretty tough. I'm just making you aware that it can work. What happens if you place a redacted portal over these users? The redacted user, all they have to do is run over, put the portal, can't really do anything. They get stuck up after. So Redacted is not a counter. It's more of like a troll glove. As soon as you see a user go and use that ability, run over to them, use the portal. It's not gonna yeet them into the portal during their ability, but after they shoot the orb, yeah, they're going right into that portal. So you can always use Bust to goober them after they use their ability, but it will not target them while they're in the animation. So of course, without a doubt, Phase is gonna keep you safe from that orb hitting you, so it's defensive. You could also get close to them, and they won't be able to do anything to you. Just wait like half a second, and then they can use their ability, and then as soon as you try to target them, guess what? You can't do anything to them. It's Phase. It's the golden glove of being safe. You could use Warp, but it's like a 50-50. You have to hit somebody prior to being hit by an orb or trying to fight one of these users. Somebody that you're trying to go after, like the Warp user, they could just teleport right back and be okay. Bomb, Bubble, Jet, Shard are all going to be deterrent gloves for before and after use, not during. So they're not counters, just deterrents. Now Bob, I forgot that you can't be targeted by things during animations, so it has to be beforehand. So if they use Bob and they use Anim, oh, it's dark. I could still... Wow. You can survive for a little bit, but yeah, Bob wins in the end. So Bob is a counter, but it's 50-50 because you can't use it and target them while they're in their ability. You have to use it beforehand. Now, Moon can actually work in this scenario. It's a 50-50 glove because it's pure defense. They see the ability happening. What do? Why, of course, they jump. If you jump, you can avoid it, but if you don't, you might die. So Moon can be that 50-50 counter for sure, just as well as Jupiter. Both of the planet gloves here. Jupiter's gonna give you that knockback reduction like a cheeky. You take a lot less knockback, because you go right back down immediately. So Jupiter, yeah, I can highly recommend as a defensive glove. You can use Hybrid's Jupiter yellow mode to keep yourself safe because it acts exactly like Jupiter, so Hybrid's definitely a 50-50 counter on that sense. Now with Slapple, this could be a pure counter because you can do offensive knockback, and you can also save yourself by hopping in a tree. You just immediately get in a tree, because guess what? They can't jump, they can't do anything. And that orb is so far beneath you, it's not going to do anything. So Slapple is a massive counter. So Disarm works in the sense of like Booster and all the things that happened prior. If you slap them, they can't use their ability, and you can just hard target them after that. But we're looking for better counters. You could use the Area Dominance for the Dominance Glove and get a little bit of a speed boost, but is that a counter? No, not really. So while using the Link Glove, can you actually kill a Rojo user during their animation? So you've been linked. So they go to use their ability. Oh! Oh, they can. So Link is one of the only gloves that is able to kill a Rojo user during that animation. I don't know if I should label it a perfect counter or not. So with Potato Glove, if the user has the potato and then they use their ability, should in theory die to it, and they do. Potato Glove, like Link, kills. Like somewhat of a counter, like in a sense, like 50-50, but nothing wild, you know? Oh, what happens with the Rattlebone? Definitely get on top of a Larry. As long as your Larry doesn't glitch out and fall to the ground, you'll be okay. You're using Rattlebones, and you can get on top of your Larry without the Larry clipping into the ground, which there is issues with that right now. Then you can absolutely avoid the hit, but if your Larry is clipping into the ground like the clip you saw, you're definitely going to get hit off of your Larry. So right now, Rattlebones, 50-50 counter. Charge you can use to escape. This is a speed glove. As soon as you see them in their ability, wait to the very end of it, then use your ability to run away. They probably won't be able to hit you because you're moving pretty fast. I don't recommend Glitch. This is like a deterrent glove. This does not counter. If the user is in the ability itself, they cannot be pulled into a glitch. It has to be used before or after, or it won't really work. So a funny goober thing that you could do is use Snowball. So while the user's in their animation, that's when you're going to put down the Snow Shooter, because it's not going to affect them. They're still going to be able to hit you, but after they get done, they're going to be slowed. Now, Elude is not a counter. It's like just a 50. It will block and teleport you away from the base slab, but you're definitely going to get absolutely destroyed by the purple orb if you do get hit by it. So Elude users will definitely be hit by that knockback, and there's not much they can do. They can only dodge that normal slap. Fish is absolutely a counter. Whether it's a slap or it's the purple orb that hits you, you can flop back into the arena for both. So this is definitely a top tier counter. When the user gets hit by the ability, they just fly right back in and they are A-okay. So Mawai is like the same thing as Snowball. As soon as you see a user use that ability, run up next to them and use a Mawai. So if you have an obby that's above ground level, you can absolutely counter this glove as long as they're not on the same level as you. If you are just 1 truss high, I don't think you're safe. I think you must be at least 2 trusses high. No, okay, never mind, you are safe with just 1. Now, what happens with Voodoo? Can you hit a Voodoo doll with this ability? I would say probably so. Yes, you did get hit. What happens when you are a Voodoo clone and you use the ability? So they aren't able to slap that doll that's there while you're in the animation. So with Voodoo, I wouldn't say it's a counter, but it's interesting because if you slap them and they use their animation, you're not going to be able to slap that doll, so they still stand the chance to come back and hit you with the orb. So I would say Voodoo, probably not a counter. So the Rojo user can't do anything by itself once it is leashed, but when it does stand up and uses the ability, it does an oddity. So it can move while it does the ability. Whoa, why did it fire that way? It's odd. It's just incredibly... What is going on with my character? It's so odd. It's just like it was never meant to happen. My character's like stuck in figurine mode. So leash, I could say, is a 50-50 counter. If you get them on your leash, they are pretty much donezo. They can't do much unless they have an outside source stand them up. But even when that happens, it's just odd after that. They're still stuck. It's just odd. I don't know how to really recommend or say things for leash. So kinetic's like a 50-50 counter because as soon as you get hit with the purple orb, pop your kinetic ability and you're gonna not have any ragdollness. You're not gonna fly backwards. So as a kinetic user, as soon as you get hit, or even prior to getting hit, you could use that ability and save yourself from flying off the edge. Now, what happens with a Sparky user? So a Sparky user can't hit, but it's going to be a lot harder to catch a Sparky user when they're running around. So using the Rojo ability, it's going to be incredibly hard to catch a Sparky user who is having super speed moments. Because look how fast they go. To try to keep up and catch up is going to be really tough. I'm built different, so I can hit them. He was also, like, right next to me. It's a fantastic glove to stay distant while they're using their ability to avoid. I like Sparky as, like, a 50-50 counter for that. What happens if you place a boogie on top of a user who is in their animation? You could always place it beforehand and stop them from using their animation, but what happens if they're already in it? So they dance, and they're able to move with it. Oh, odd. But they're stuck after. They don't have a glove. So the Boogie Glove is absolutely the 50-50. So Recall isn't a counter in the sense of offense. It's just like Thanos, or it's just like Adios. It's just to save yourself if you do get hit off the edge. Using this Psycho Glove, you should be able to counter, I believe. You should easily be able to jump into your flight mode and not take any knockback, just like what Bio did right there. So you could be... Whoa! Yep, Psycho's a massive counter. So they're stuck in their ability and they cannot move. when they have Psycho. I like Psycho as like a top tier counter because not only can you dodge and avoid that purple orb that gets shot at you if you time it well, you can also hit them prior, and if they use their ability, you can sometimes bug them out and just shoot them way across the map, or, you know, you can just toss them off the edge if they don't bug out. Alright, so using the counter glove, can you counter the orb that is flying at you from one of these users? No, you just have a ragdoll moment. So I wouldn't recommend using the counter glove. So Rob is absolutely a massive counter. Beyond a massive counter. As soon as they go into their ability, guess what? Just sit in front of them. It will not only just kill them, it will blind them. So they go into their ability. Guess what you do? You use Rob. So now they're blind. They can't see. They can't move. And then after you use your ability, you're done. So Rob is 1000% a top tier counter. One of the fun ones, I say. Definitely use Rob against these users. With the Rhythm Glove, the yellow shockwaves aren't going to do anything to a Rojo user in their animation. But what's good with Rhythm is the top speeds it has. And then when you use your ability on top of the head of another user, you get sent to another dimension. It says I have Rojo, but I don't have a single glove. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, which glove was your favorite counter, and which glove surprised you the most? My favorite counter had to be Cheeky, and the one that shocked me the most was Reverse. I was not expecting both parties to be hit. But shout out to everybody in this server here helping. We did have to swap over to a private server because the public server we were not able to get everything done. Here we have Carl, we have Bio, we have Sprag, Andrew, and then Sky, the giveaway winner, and then Kai's came in for multiple parts. So thank you to everybody who came in and helped out. I appreciate all of you. But ladies and gentlemen, I hope that every single one of you have an amazing rest of your day or night whenever you are watching, and I shall see you in the next one. Later!